All right, brother Chris, we're back after seemed like it's been a long, long time,
Hmm.
but now we're back. And a lot of things have happened since the last time we did one of these Facebook Lives. And I think it's important that we do one now in this moment. A lot of things have happened.
Yes.
Um, the corruption continues. We have a lot of things happening with these delegate elections. People are beginning to stand up and speak out about things they want to see done in their union, which is a good thing.
Hmm.
We have been traveling this country, talking to many different members about their issues and concerns, and also the direction of this organization. But I really want to just stop and talk about this corruption piece that, the general president tried to hide from the membership for political reasons. And in the oath of office, it talks about, you know, not being a corruptible leader,
Right,
right?
right,
You take that oath to not bring harm to your organization, be a person of good character and integrity.
right.
And that's something that we're missing in this moment right now. Um, there's an old adage, Chris, and you know this, that corruption does not move members. They really just focus on contracts, pension funds, and they don't really concern themselves with how their leader, how they act, or what their responsibility is to the bylaws or to the Constitution. Some do, but
Right.
most members they just went about getting to that warehouse, getting that truck, getting into wherever they craft they're in.
Hmm.
They went about punching the clock, going home, being with my family.
That's it.
This whole corruption thing really goes over their head, and they really a lot of them don't know, and that's done by design. Because I think if people really knew how corrupt some of these leaders are, they would second guess who they vote for. They wouldn't just vote blindly because my officer or my friend is telling me this person has a history of being corrupt. Why do we continue to support them?
I
Why
think
do we do it?
people, I think some people, some of our members, people, uh, believe that when you get into these positions, there's an element of corruption that's natural because they see it in the larger body politic, and so that you know the moment that you sit down in that chair, they automatically assume um, that there's some level of corruption that's taking place outside of their eyeballs. And the question is whether I get to see it or not, right? Uh, there is a there's a word for it that escapes me right now, but because of what happens in the Congress and in the mayor's office and in these different things, uh, the people become jaded in how they look at things, right?
Hmm.
And so, oh, you're the head of a union, then you must be doing something.
Hmm.
It just automatic, right? And and so that there's this automatic guilt, right? I mean, I remember being someplace one time and the person said, "Oh, you're the head of a Teamster local. Are you in the mafia?" And I looked at him and I
Wow.
says, I said, like, I don't think we're accepted in the mafia. And there's this assumption. We were in Chicago, not Chicago, we were in Atlanta, and we had a big Teamster truck out there with uh I think the James R. Hoffa's picture was on the truck and whatnot. And there's some young black kids. And they came down and they were like, yo, this the mafia? And that was their perception of the Teamsters. And I'm like, no,
Right.
this is not what the Teamsters are, and just had this little back and forth with them. But I believe that people have this perception that all too often we have never done enough to try to correct that record.
Right. So the title of this program today is The Conviction of Corruption. This is not a complaint against it because we're not complaining. We are convicted by it because we want to make sure that one day we get a chance to police ourselves and handle our own business and not have, governmental oversight while them holding our hands to make sure that the Teamsters are doing the right thing. But unfortunately, under this general president who's been in the GEB, I believe was since what, 90, not 90, but what,
Yeah,
2011 maybe?
yeah,
So he's been up there for about 15 years.
and there for a
And
while.
and right, and this behavior, has been commonplace within the Teamsters for even before he got there. So
Mm.
this is just not about O'Brien. This is the fact that the system of corruption that for whatever reason we overlook it. So before I start reading this document, Chris, I'm gonna ask you, why do you believe it's a two-part question. So why do you believe members overlook corruption and kind of like, well, it's not affecting my paycheck? And the second part, Chris, would be, why don't we get rid of it? We know it's a problem.
Yeah,
Why not just move on from it?
you'll never move on from it. Wherever you pile up $10, there's going to be somebody around trying to figure out how I could get three taken out of there and get away with it. I don't think you get rid of it. I think you punish it the moment that you know about it.
Mm,
I think you make it intolerable, but I don't know that it ever stops. I don't know that stealing stops. I don't know that bad behavior. I think that's a panacea that we'll never see. In fact, coming to talk about this whole thing about the government oversight, I've always wanted to get rid of the government oversight. But when I look at the behavior of people retaliating against workers and what have you, retaliating against people for exercising their democratic right, I am not sure that I want the government to leave because we would be leaving you in a situation where you would have nowhere to turn to because the people that are in charge can't control themselves,
right.
right? Have this inability to respect the very notion of democracy. So I think we have to be very careful. Yes, that would be the ideal world to go back to self-governance. Um, but I would want to do that, but the members would have to become engaged. The members would have to start to care about what's happening.
Right, exactly. So I'm
And
going to
when that
pull this.
happens, then you could start to do it, not just for any other reason, but when the members become engaged, then you start to change the process.
So I'm going to pull this report up for everybody to look at it. And I think a lot of the reason why people, you know, overlook corruption is because they really don't know about it
Mhm.
and nobody talks about it. Because again, they want to stay in office and they want to keep doing what they're doing and then keep embezzling people's money and all this kind of stuff. So for people who don't know, Chris Griswold was a member of the current administration, or if you want to do it for political reasons, the slate. Now, he was on there as a vice president of the Western region. I believe now Local 986 is the largest local union in the Teamsters. I believe right now they have about 33 uh, delegates that's going to the convention. 33. That local is massive.
Mhm.
And do some mergers and things like that, they've amassed that many people. But Chris Griswold, he decided that he wanted to embezzle a lot of the members' money. Now, there were some rumors around this about bottles of champagne, bottles of wine, but it was more to it than just bottles of wine and champagne. This document is about 149 pages. And, we're not going to read all 149 pages today, but I would submit to everybody that whenever you get a chance, please read this document. You can find it on social media. You can go to my Facebook page. You can go to the Fearless Slate Facebook page, and we have it there. Other people have shared it. But I don't think, Chris, people really understand the problems that this causes. Right to work advocates love this kind of stuff.
Yes, yes.
Union busters use this kind of stuff
Mhm.
to diminish the importance and the relevance of unions. Even people who are in the union,
Yes.
they say, hey man, this is why we can never get anywhere.
Mm.
Employers love to see this kinds of things because they can go back to their employees and say, listen, I told you that this union was no good. And now I'm going to read this page right here. This is from page 133, and I'm going to read, I think, a portion of 134. And I want people to really look at this. This is not me making this up. This is from the actual IIO, the independent, what is it, the independent investigative officer.
Right, right.
This is their job to police the Teamsters because unfortunately we can't police ourselves. But I'm going to read this here and then kind of give somebody some give people some background.
Independently, we refuse to police ourselves.
Right,
Yeah,
independently,
we
right,
refuse.
right, right. So it says the conclusion here, the repeated and routine breaches of the fiduciary duty by Griswold and Heron showed that they regarded the Union Treasury as means by which they could enjoy luxury living for themselves, and in Heron's case, his wife and her adult children. The duty to which they swore required that they protect, not pilfer, the Union Treasury. Instead of protecting the Treasury, they invented definitions of reasonable and Union purpose that justified any expense they chose to incur, whether food or beverage, and whether the guests were close family or non-member personal friends. Such legislations have no basis in law and were adopted only as means to the goal of extravagant living. Accordingly, they violated their oaths to conduct themselves at all times in such a manner as not to bring reproach upon the Union, and in particularly by breaching the fiduciary obligation owed to any labor organization by any act of embezzlement or conversion of unions, funds, or property. Now, this is the part here that really messed me up, this paragraph right here, because this is the first time, 2023 was the first time that I did not live under a negotiated contract. I came in 1999, I was under the 97 contract. When that contract expired, I believe in 2008, I was living under that contract. 2013 to 2018, I was under that contract. 2018 to 2020, when we got elected, I was under that contract. This 2023 contract is the first contract that I was not living under. So I understand what this next paragraph I'm about to read means. When you go to work and you work hard and you're slaving and you're getting harassed and your check is short and you're filing grievances and you're paying dues, you want your leaders to have your best interest at heart. You want them to fight and protect you. Listen to what this said right here. Nearly every month, the local union executive board received heartfelt requests from members who have fallen behind on their dues, whether because of illness, injury, or personal circumstances, pleading that the union waive or reduce their arrearage so that they might resume good standing status. The contrast between the difficulty these members express in paying their dues and the free and careless way in which Griswold and Heron wasted their payments away in pursuit of their own sumptuous lifestyles should not be lost. So, Chris, I'm coming to work.
Mm.
I fall on hard times. My spouse gets sick, gotta go on FMLA, gotta go on disability to take care of whatever. Things happen.
Yeah.
Every month, it said nearly every month they would get requests to get help.
Mm-hmm.
But when you find and you go through this report, you'll see how they spent their money on Dodger tickets, $80,000 in Dodger tickets,
Wow.
thousands of dollars and thousands of dollars on these extravagant meals
Mm.
with other people. Now, some of the other GEB board members were at these dinners.
Oh yeah.
These folks may already make two and three salaries.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's being used to purchase their meals, but a member who's right here, it says it right here, I'm not making it up, because of illness, injury, or personal circumstances, I'm pleading to you to help me out. But you paying for dinners of people who making two and three salaries, but you
Which,
can't help me out.
yeah, they forgot to get a withdrawal card is most likely what happened. And and they,
Right. They needed some help.
yeah,
Help them out, right?
yeah,
Nah, we're not going to do that. We're going to spend your money. We're going to embezzle your money. And I throw this in for free. And this is also in this report. Chris Griswold and Heron, they were not paying the proper dues.
that's true.
They wasn't paying the proper dues. So these people here who struggling to pay, they trying to pay the proper dues.
Hmm.
Griswold and the other brother weren't paying the proper dues. They were ineligible to run.
Fun.
Ineligible.
Wow.
Shouldn't have been running. But they ran for office anyway. But here's the part right here I want people to key in on right here. This is it. The resolutions, the IBT/Sean O'Brien struck with Griswold and Heron imposed no discipline on them, did not make the local union whole for the funds they were responsible for diverting to their personal benefit or the dues they evaded, and importantly, did not expose their wrongdoing to the union's members. Let's stop right there. So I'm the general president. I know this is going on. But
Hmm.
because you are on my slate, because I handpicked you to take Randy K. Mack's position so I can consolidate power,
Hmm.
move him out the way, I slide you in. I know this is happening, and I try to hide it from the members. What disqualifies that brother? What disqualifies him? Let's see it again. The resolutions,
Hmm.
the IBT/Sean O'Brien struck with Griswold and Heron, imposed no discipline on them, did not make the local union whole for the funds they were responsible for diverting to their personal benefit or the dues they evaded, and importantly, did not expose their wrongdoing to the union's members. Why is that? Chris, when I file a grievance against any employer and we want those members made whole, we're told to fight, we're told to do whatever we can to make sure that those members are whole.
Hmm.
Why didn't this happen? Why are we hiding it?
So if you go backwards, because the resolution the IBT struck, right? The
Right.
IBT in this case is really should say GEB, should not say IBT.
Hmm.
It said the resolution the General Executive Board struck because that's who is making the IBT is you know
Right. That's
400
everybody
local
included when we talk
unions
about
and
the IBT.
1.2 million members,
Right.
right? This is the resolution that GEB struck. And when you look at somebody that's buying $400 bottle of wine, you're already getting two, three salads. And I'm gonna tell people that,
I'm gonna look through that and see if I can find it so people can
yeah,
see the
it's there,
extravagant spending that
right?
was going on.
$400 bottle of wine, right? And this is the difference between those people who are movement trade unionists versus business people, right? And this is the type of thing where uh, these businessmen they really would have gone and worked for the company if they could, right?
Right.
Instead, the company wanted no parts of them, and they end up going in and running in the local union and whatnot. Here it is.
And this is just some of it right here,
That's some
Chris.
of it. Yeah.
This is just some of it. Two thousand six
Seven
hundred and $34 and 71 cents for a dinner
in a
at
liquor.
Bob's Steakhouse.
Yeah.
But if I go through a hard time in a situation where I can't pay my dues and I'm coming to you and you tell me no, and then I look through this report and you paying over $2,600 for a dinner and then turn around, tell me I can't do it, and then I present this information to the GEB slash O'Brien, and they want to sweep it under the rug like it didn't happen.
$2,634.71 was the bill. I don't know Bob's Steakhouse, but I bet you Bob is a nice steakhouse.
Right, right,
Hotel and restaurant charge.
right. That was another. That's over 5,200.
Yeah, yeah.
But I really want to go to these Dodger tickets, man. This
40,000. There's one up there for 40,000.
I know, man. This is crazy. But why? But why don't we, as leaders, why don't we talk about this stuff? Because members need to know when these things happen. Because if they don't know, they think everything's okay. This weakens our solidarity right here. This is bad, man. This is bad. This is
This is,
very, very bad.
and this is why you have to make your members, the members know that they're being looked at, right? These things are being looked at because this is how you're going to make sure, because this is a cover up. It's a part of a cover up, right? Royal Palm Spa.
Yeah, just look at it. I'm really trying to find them Dodger tickets, man, because when you see the amount of money and the family members going to the Dodger games and all
Not
this
the
stuff,
not the rank and file
not
members.
the rank and file, but the family, and,
Family.
and then I believe it was the father-in-law,
Right.
the father-in-law, right? And this is the stuff, man. And then you'll see other
Just
GEB
go, just
board members.
go back, go the other way a second because there's a little thing here. Griswold and Herron breached their fiduciary due to the local union to enforce financial control over the local union's treasury by routinely paying credit card expenses that were not supported by itemized receipts. Now, they have classes at the IBT
Yes.
that teaches new officers, trustees, and what have you, what their responsibilities are. And a lot of times these guys are so glad to be on these e-boards and what have you. They're not looking at anything. They just sign off on these documents. Here it is. You're in there now with the Dodgers.
Yep.
The Dodgers clinched the World Series over the Yankees.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Herring breached his fiduciary duty to the local union by giving himself and his stepdaughter favored access to union purchase tickets to the Los Angeles Dodgers postseason games. Come on now. Come on, man. And here's the thing. They knew about it, Chris.
Yeah. Yeah.
They knew. The people in charge of this union knew that this was happening. They said, oh, you know what? Hey, man, no discipline. Hey, you on the slate, we're gonna try to hide it and sweep it under the rug because it's an election and we don't want this stuff to come out. And this is why we cannot police ourselves because things like this happen. We can, like you said, Chris, we can police ourselves, but we refuse to do so. We refuse to do so.
Hmm.
And why? Why? Chris, what you think would have happened if I had $2 that couldn't be accounted for?
Yeah.
Man, they throw me in the Schuylkill
Yeah.
River.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
throw me in the river.
Yeah. This is this is what destroys the movement. And this is why it requires, at the end of the day, the government can't do it. I would dare to say that the only thing that the international could do is when they learn of these behaviors, because these are not. Because let me tell you something. This goes back in time because I see something about Kegel, uh,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It talked
This
about the
goes,
dues
yeah, this
and
goes back
how
in
he
time.
was not paying the proper dues,
Yeah,
and being ineligible to run, all of this stuff is right here.
right. And when they get audited by the international, nobody sees this, right? Nobody sees this, or is the audit only for people who are the little guys who don't have the muscle power, right, to do this? Because while they say he's now has the largest local union in the country, they didn't get that solely by because 986 has always been a very large local going
Hmm.
back to Mike Riley's days. That back in the when I came around in the 90s, they had 14 or 15,000 members back then. You know, but these are things that every 3 years, local unions are audited. So the idea that they weren't paying the proper dues should have been picked up years ago because it didn't start last year.
Right. Chris, I remember you and I did a show about a year ago, and we said some things that folks didn't like. You and I both got audited the same week.
Yeah,
You and I both talked about that.
yeah, yeah,
We came on here and we talked, said some things that were truthful, but they didn't like it.
yeah.
The very same week, Chris, you and I were audited the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
week.
They could audit me anytime they feel like. Because I
Yeah,
know, see, I know
yeah,
as a as a as a as a black man, as an independent trade unionist who is going to think for himself and uh, look at things on his own, that I'm always going to be subject to a
yeah.
microscopic investigation. I've been prepared for that from day one. And I also know that I don't change my lifestyle for other people or my positions. If I want a bottle of wine for $200, I could pay for that out of my own pocket if I
Hmm.
can afford it, right? And and I've learned one thing that a $20 bottle of wine tastes just as good as and half of it is a con game unless you have those type of taste buds, and I don't have them,
Right.
you know.
But
Uh,
but again, I just want to let people see this here that this is what we're up against.
yeah.
If we ever want to start really policing ourselves, we're going to have to
But
change the system because
you know what's the
this,
bad part here, though?
what's that?
These guys practice this lifestyle, this corruption, right?
Right, right.
They were getting double checks, making big money, and there was not a demand for the members to get their money back because this money don't belong to the union. This is the members'
It's the
money,
members' money, right?
right? The members were not reimbursed. In other words, say, hey man, I'm freezing your pension. Because I'm sure Griswold has a pension that comes from IBT out of the family plan, uh, and so forth like that. And there should have been a demand, not only that you get out, not only are we going to publicize this, but you have to reimburse the union for these expenses, right? And that to me, because there's a part of this, I mean, certainly any good auditor would have picked up on these types of expenses because if you have to put down these receipts and say what was the meeting for and so forth, when you looked at the receipt and it must be an itemized receipt. One time you could just turn in the credit card bill,
Yeah.
and they said no, we need the itemized receipt. We need to know because I'm gonna give you a funny story. We uh, went somewhere, had a meeting with some people, went to this restaurant, and we ordered 4 meals. And one was we all wanted to taste this other meal, right?
Mm.
And the auditor said to me, says, yo, there's 4 meals here. Who was the fourth person at the meal? And so I go, said, four, no, there was only 3 people there, right? And oh no, no, no. We ordered this other meal because everybody wanted to sample this, whatever this thing was, right? And I said, so no, but no, there was only 3 people there. So they're at that particular point doing that, right? And this is a meal. This ain't alcohol. This ain't none of those things like that. Because one of the things that we learn is that I think there's some 2 drink minimum that the IBT holds you to. Um, I generally don't like to uh, pay for alcohol uh, on if you go out for a meal. I don't like to do it, right? Especially when you start drinking bottles of wine, right? Somebody wants a beer or something that's a little bit of but this when you start talking about buying these kind of expensive bottles of wine. And the question to me is, are you doing this on your own? Right? Like when you go out with your wife or whatever, are you buying a $400 wine out of your pocket? Because if you ain't doing that, that's really troubling to me.
Right, exactly.
Double,
Exactly, Chris.
double troubling, right?
Right.
But the fact that there was no demand for reimbursement to the local for this money that was spent, and these tickets to these Dodger games and what have you like that. Where is the record to make sure that members were getting to see a Dodger game,
Hmm.
right? Who are these people, right? Is it the same guys over and over? Or do we say that these members are going or these stewards are going, but they're not going, right?
Right.
This is the type of thing, but there definitely should have been, um, and I don't know if this is the final, because if the final comes out that does not impose restitution to the union, then even the IIO is a failure.
No, so the IIO actually has about seven charges that they want to see done, and it's going to be up to the GEB. Let me see if I can find them. Yeah, they really want those members to be made whole,
They should be made whole.
and
Absolutely.
also any type of contract and decision that was made by Griswold to be questioned because he wasn't eligible to run.
To run, right. So I see that because they merged um 9/11. That's how it became the largest. Look, it's really a bogus thing because they merged 9/11 into 986. And then this guy took over. Um, his name is in here. If you go down to where they said that he's not really the secretary treasurer.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know you're talking about.
Uh,
Yeah, because the way they made the vote up. Let me see if I can find these charges. Let me see if I can find them charges, man.
but how many people went to one of these luncheons and never raised their hand and said anything?
Right. Yeah, there's some names. There's some names in here, man, of people who are on the GEB. Now they're not, involved in it like that, but they were there getting, their dinners paid for, a lot of
Right.
them.
But
Yeah, I
did they
got,
speak up?
huh?
Did they speak up?
Oh no, of course not.
Because I'm just
Look
looking
at
at.
this. You got Chris Roselle, he's in here.
Mhm.
He getting something to eat.
The six time in 5 days that he paid for Roselle's
Roselle's
food and
food,
drink.
yeah. Wow. And we just scrolling through,
And
man. We
hey,
didn't
hey,
even
and that Charlie Parker restaurant right there, that's right
uh
down the street from the IBT. That's an expensive steakhouse right there.
wow. All right, where is this thing, man? I'm gonna have to find these charges. I think it may be down the bottom. Because it was like seven of them
Mm-hmm.
that they really let me see, let me go to the top and see if they're there. They might be at the
Popcorn.
bottom.
Right. These guys are drinking some good wine.
Yeah, man. Let me see. Let me go down here.
And there was something in this report about the trustees only having like 15 minutes to
To look at the
look at the
books.
books. How can you look at the books in 15 minutes? At the IBT, I can't speak for today, but I know that the IBT back in Jimmy's time, they actually had, and I'm going to presume they still do, a trained certified public accountant that sat with those trustees going over those books every month or whenever, I don't want to say every month, but whenever they went over those books, right? There's a trained auditor. We have an auditor that comes into local 808 every month and reviews our stuff before we send it off. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Because you want to make sure, man, that you, particularly, you know,
Oh, I know. I know. Hey, listen,
I
I've been audited, Chris.
cross every T and dot every I,
Man,
and double cross them and double dot them, uh, because I know that I can't afford to
can't afford it, Chris.
come up wrong, uh, because I've always been in a situation where I've been at odds.
See, right here, what you said. Trustees testified that their monthly function performed immediately before the start and sometimes during the monthly executive board meeting took approximately 15 minutes to complete
Yeah,
and woefully inadequate amount of time to
yeah,
review credit card receipts. Then you see this M, Griswold and Herron breached their fiduciary duty to the local union by failing to pay full dues required by the IBT Constitution and failing to require local union staff to pay such full dues, thereby depriving the local union treasury of proper dues income and international union treasury of proper per capita income, and rendering Griswold and Herron ineligible for election to office because of their failure to pay such proper dues.
mm,
A man shouldn't even been in office, man.
that's right. That's right.
And the people above and his
And this didn't start yesterday.
no, they
They've
knew
been
about
doing this
it.
for a long
They
time.
knew.
Yeah,
They knew about
that
it
means
and
that
didn't
audit
care.
after audit, IBT, international audit after audit, covered this up.
Yep, because he was on the slate and there wasn't no bad news to come through it because they promised us, along with a whole bunch of other stuff, that they were going to be free from corruption. They talked bad about Rome and all the stuff he did.
It is L.
Hmm.
Breached their fiduciary duty to the local union by failing to provide the resources and information that would ensure the local union trustees could perform their function to safeguard the local treasury from abuse. That means that they probably never sent them to any training programs.
Hmm.
And you get into this team mode. Oh, you're on my team. You're on my slate.
Yep.
You don't have to ask me no questions. Oh, that's horrible.
Man, I gotta find those charges, Chris,
Like
because I want to move on to
we had three
the other
guys.
stuff. But I'm gonna ask you this while I look for it. Would this be enough for members to say, "Hey, man, I don't want this in my union. We need to get rid of it. We need to make sure that we put people in these offices who really care about the oath of office that they're taking, who care about my dues." Because I'll tell you this, Chris, before you answer. When we were elected here in 2019, the biggest issue that my members had, their biggest concern wasn't that if I was going to fight or not,
Mm,
because I was a steward for many years, so they knew I was going to fight. It wasn't were we going to fight for a better contract, because prior to getting elected, we changed the bylaws so we would make sure that rank and file people were there
mm,
to ensure that we get a good contract, right?
mm, mm.
Their number one concern was could I handle the responsibility of taking care of their money? That was their number one concern.
Right, right, right.
And I did everything I could to try to diminish their anxiety about that. Because that's something that you would have to show. It's not like fighting or filing grievances or this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
You got to show people. So, people don't know
Trust
this.
issue,
So
right? It's a trust issue, right?
right, a trust issue.
Yeah.
So what I did certain things prior to getting in office in 2020 to show them that, hey, this is what we're going to do as it concerns your money.
Mm,
Listen, our bylaws, well, I should say our policy and procedure said that we should get paid a certain amount. You know what I'm going to do? Because I know you're concerned about your money. For the first 3 years, Chris, our first 3 years in office, we took a pay cut every year.
mm,
Then we gave back the leased cars. Then we got rid of the per diem. So and listen, this is not about the money. We want to make sure that we do what we were supposed to do for your
mm,
money. I know it's your biggest concern. This is what we're going to do. Man, Chris, we will go. the places I'll never forget. We were down in the AAPGC, and one of my brothers, it was Keith DeMatteo, one of our shop stewards. Man, Chris, we went to this hot dog spot. I still remember how much it cost. We got two hot dogs, some French fries, and a soda. It was like $17.
Mm.
Man, everybody was laughing. I say, man, listen, man, I am scared to death of spending my members' money. And my members pick at me about that now because I don't, I do, I understand. I get it. You know, this is your hard-earned money. You want to make sure that it's been managed the proper way. So I we cut a lot of stuff out because we know they were concerned about it.
Right, right.
But so, like I said, my previous question, Chris, to you is, what do you think our members would see this and read this, hear about this, and make a decision saying, you know what, man, if the leaders we elect continue to go against the stuff that they promised us, especially around corruption, you know, do you think this will move the needle? Because again, there's an old adage that says members don't really care about corruption.
I don't,
But
I don't,
after seeing this, somebody got to start caring.
I don't believe the members don't care about corruption. In a lot of places, the members not going to know about this, right?
Right.
The members
That's
not
true too.
members not at their restaurant. Members not seeing any of this. It is the role of the trustees to highlight, hey, chief, where's the documentation for this receipt? Where is this? But how you do that in 15 minutes? That means you really weren't you were not as a trustee fulfilling your role as a trustee. I just was going to tell you, we just had two new trustees come on to the board, two new trustees and a vice president. In February, all three of them were sent to the new officer training program that, at the Teamster Leadership Academy down in Washington. First thing out the box, you need to be educated. When you come back and sit down at this table, you need to understand what your role is as a trustee. I don't want no yes man sitting around the local union. You understand what I'm saying? I need
Hmm.
people that are going to say, hey, Chris, you're going over a cliff, come back. You know what I'm saying? I don't need you to help me go over the cliff. I need you to rescue me from the cliff. And so we need to have, like I said, I don't know, man, you got embezzlement in church, man. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, right.
I don't know that you stop it. The thing is to make sure that when it does happen, you're on top of it. And like I said, when I look at this thing right here, it tells me that the IBT saw this for years and turned a blind eye to the fact that you were not paying your proper amount of dues for years, right?
Yep.
Look at this one right here.
That's what I was about to say, Chris. Look at this number
Right?
111 down to A. Man, I just read it.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness. Three times during the period that was subject of the IIO investigation,
yeah,
Griswold used the credit card points that belonged to the local union, 986, for his personal benefit. Now look at this. Oh my goodness. I, it's talking about felony embezzlement of a
yeah,
union asset.
yeah,
He said he was likely saved from this result by the COVID-19 pandemic, which resulted in a refund of the full sum of $7,416.27 to their American Express account as a credit in dollars rather than points on the statement period ending September 19, 2020. Accordingly, this refunded transaction constituted attempted rather than consummated
that's right.
embezzlement. Good God Almighty.
Wow,
Chris,
wow.
what? Chris, can you imagine if we where we are, if one of us and we are on the outside looking in, if they have found all this stuff about us, Chris, they would have put us under the jail.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But because you ride with the Oz campaign and you on the Oz slate and you can do stuff like this, and the general president will sweep it under the rug because he don't want you to know about this. Corruption continues under his watch. and they said they were going to do something about it. Come to find out they are responsible for it. Man, I gotta find these charges, man. I gotta find them. But I want to move on to another
But
uh
members need to go up on this website and find
and look at this, because
stuff.
this is crazy. Because I want to talk about something else to further this corruption, this conviction of corruption. So, as you know, Chris, earlier this week, the IBT organizers they got their staff union. Congratulations to them. I know it wasn't easy. I know it was a lot of union busting going on. So I talked to one of them because one of the people there, they were talking about some of the things that were happening there, and some of the stuff they would have them do, and the atmosphere up there is bad. It's really, really bad. And it's not just coming from one or two people. And the fact that you saw it was a 2-1 victory shows that there's something going on up there. What this person told me throughout this whole thing was when the season of gathering signatures were going on,
Mhm.
they would have the organizers go out and get signatures. Now they're
Oh,
supposed to be going out there organizing people. They're going out getting signatures for the Oz campaign. And
I'm
they were
sure.
told if they didn't, then they would go back to their barn or whatever the case may be,
Yeah,
or they wouldn't be moved up.
yeah.
And you guys are going to hear about this later on. I don't want you to think I'm making this up, but this is how deep this corruption goes. Not only that, if you don't donate to this campaign, um, you won't be a what is it? It's a term. Is a you on staff, or it's another term to use. I can't call it right now, but it's one of those things where we'll hire you permanently if you give us this money. If not, then we'll call you when we need you. Those kinds of things. All this stuff is going to come out, but the corruption, Chris, it's not just about money. It's also about your duty to do the right thing.
Yeah, yeah,
You got to do the right thing. So if I'm an organizer and I got, hey man, I'm out here doing the Lord's work, man. I'm organizing people, and you tell me, hey man, if you don't go out there and get these signatures, man, we're gonna send you back to your job.
yeah.
Or if you don't give us this money, we're gonna send you back to your job. What kind of stuff is this? Why do we allow this to continue to happen?
Well, that's why that was so. That's why we're running for office, right?
Yeah,
And that's why, we. I would want to say this to those organizers that's organizing that we would immediately recognize their union and sit down and negotiate a collective bargain agreement with them, right? But one of the reasons they don't want them to have a union, they want them to be at will employees so that when they tell them to do things that violate the rules and regulation, if you don't go along, I can retaliate, right? I can send you back to your barn. I can take this job away from you. And we need an organization that's professional.
yes.
There was very little turnover when Ron Carey came into the organization. There was actually very little turnover when Jim Hoffa came into the organization, right? Uh, certain high-end mucky mucks had to go, which is normal, right? But at a certain level, they did not affect those people at all because those people dealt with the union. I was always proud of the Teamsters for being able to deliver the product that it was supposed to, whether it be education or research or whatever, regardless of whether you were an insurgent, incumbent, whatever, everybody was dealt with the same. And I was very proud, always very proud of the union for doing that. Now, that's one of the things that from the time I came in up until today, I always admired the union uh, for functioning along this path. But this type of behavior is abhorrent, right? Uh, when you look at some of the things that they're doing and where they're going, they're not going around the corner to the diner, right?
Nah, nah, Chris.
Yeah,
My man was in Paris
yeah, yeah,
using the local union's resources, Chris.
yeah, yeah.
Paris. look at this. Let's say I go down to North Carolina and I slip up and use the union card on a box of Bojangles. I'm getting thrown under the jail.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm through
yeah,
for some chicken.
yeah,
This man went to Paris
yeah.
and they knew about it.
And that's what I'm saying, that when you really look at this, right? How did this pass muster from the person that was doing the audit, right? Because I know when they have audited local aid weight, and from 1990, I've been audited by the IRB on 2 or 3 occasions, and I've been audited by the IBT on multiple. Okay,
Yeah,
no, no, no. That's what they're
what they're
supposed to
supposed to
do.
do, right?
I
Yeah,
don't take no offense. Uh, and I mean, and they questioned me two. What is this? What is that? How about this? What about that? You know what I'm saying? And so when you look at these things, you wonder, how did you get away with this? Because when you look at these dates, 22, 23, 24, I bet you there's, well, it said COVID, so that goes back to 20 for
right. Go back to
sure,
20.
right? Which means that he should have had an audit in between. Nobody picked up any of these things, right?
I'm telling you, like the IIO report says, they knew this was going on. And hey, man, let's sweep it under the sweep it under the rug. You on the slate. You can't let this stuff get out because if it does, it's going to hurt our chances at re-election. Because all of this stuff is about politics. It's not about being. It's
I
not
don't,
about being. It's not about being doing the right thing. The oath we take as officers talks about corruption and keeping it out of our union. That's what it says. Because when we don't keep that up, man, it weakens our solidarity. It gives strength and confirmation to the right to work advocates and the union busters and all this stuff. They win when this happened. We don't. Those members lost all kind of resources because of this. And people knew and didn't want to do the right thing because hey, it's gonna mess up the slate. It's gonna mess up this. But how many
I don't
lives,
think it, but I mean, this is just me. I don't think it messes up the slate if you find that, because again, this is happening at the local union,
right,
right? So if this is happening at the local union and I'm at the IBT, I can't see this on a day-to-day basis, right? But when the auditor goes in and sees this and covers it up, right? That's when it becomes problematic.
right. And then when
So,
the
which
general
means that
president sees it
that's
and
right.
doesn't do anything, and then he wants just, hey, just retire, and then we'll keep it quiet.
Yeah, you
That
don't
that's
get that.
that's crazy.
Yeah, you get that after you reimburse the local, right? But if you add up all this money,
Man,
you
this is crazy. I'm
know,
looking at this stuff now, man. No union
yeah,
purpose
exactly.
justified. The entire amount, almost 3,000. What is
Exactly.
happening? Again, the previous paragraph, no union purpose justified. 1,900. Go up to the next one.
Yeah,
To entertain non-members and otherwise for personal pleasure.
yeah.
Almost $2,500. This is crazy. Man. Man, Chris, they would throw us under the jail, man, and run us
Listen,
over.
listen, man. Del Frisco's Double Eagle. That's big
Yeah.
time, man.
Listen,
Hey,
that's my wife's favorite
yeah,
restaurant, but hey, we want to go to on her birthday because I can't afford it any other time.
any other time, that's what I'm saying. You do these things. It's,
Right?
a Valentine's or
Right,
something.
Valentine's or
These
birthday
cats are
or something
rolling
like
in
that.
there every day,
Yeah, my man
right?
was going
And
there
then
all the time. Look at this.
it's his
Yeah,
wife, and I don't know who Roman is. Roman Delgado.
Delgado.
Yeah, on the Union's credit card.
I gotta find these charges, man. Well, the charges that they want, I gotta find them. But let's talk about this delegate election too, Chris. One of the things that I think people need to know about our slate and what we want to do. Number one, as you guys see, we want to get rid of this behavior right here. We should be able to police ourselves. And I know this is Sunday, and I don't want to quote scripture, man, but There's a scripture in Ezekiel chapter 32, verse 2 through 5. It talks about leaders who you see like this on this document here, who are leaders but don't want to feed the people. You got people who are crying out for help and you don't help them. And then it talks about later on in verse 5 how ruling with, and I'm paraphrasing, like an iron fist or trying to be a bully. And that's something that has plagued this organization for I don't know how long. And it continues under this general president. We got to get rid of that. Our members are not um, things. They're members. They're people. They're human beings, and they deserve to be treated with respect and dignity. They should not be bullied into um, endorsing a candidate, or if you don't give me this money, then we're going to come after you. That continues to happen. And also, under our leadership, we're going to tell you the truth, openness, honesty, and accountability. We're not just going to make up stuff because it sounds good. If the sky's blue, the sky's blue. If the water is wet, it's going to be wet. We're not going to make up nothing to give you some catchphrase and make it sound like we tough. No, man. Real things are happening right now. People are being laid off everywhere. Not just UPS,
Yeah.
because I know people are tired of hearing about that. I'm with you, and I come from UPS. Freight folks are getting laid off too. I was down in North Carolina talking to some freight members. Freight members are getting laid off. They don't like cameras either. They don't want to be spied on. They don't want that kind of stuff. They
Yeah.
want to be protected.
Yeah.
And it's hard to build confidence when you see stuff like this where they spending your money in Paris and you being laid off at home. That's crazy, and people are upset about this picture that happened in the Super Bowl. Like, hey man, I'm laid off and I see my general president at the Super Bowl. Nothing wrong with him going to the Super Bowl, but I think well, I think you gotta be careful, man, when you do certain things, man,
Yeah.
because it's a bad look when I'm being laid off
And,
and I ain't got no health care and
yeah.
you at the Super Bowl. That's a bad look. That's a very bad look.
That same Super Bowl, that's what tripped up Roman them back in the day. And a whole bunch of them got tripped up behind this, going to some Super Bowl party that was put on by
Or the company.
Playboy Mansion or whomever, whatever, by the company. Some company sponsored it. And, I, you know, I, so here's the thing. I'm sure at the local they're making high-end money at a local of that size.
Mhm. Because their dues are the highest dues, I believe, in the IBT is 2.75 rate that they have. So their dues 2.75.
Oh,
So they're higher than the standard of 2.5.
right, right.
Their dues are actually 2.75.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, they got money. They got money. And part of Griswold's argument, Chris, is that there were very few, if any, months there was a deficit. So his thinking was, well, shoot, we're not in the deficit. It's all right for me to spend this money because we're not in a deficit.
Right, right.
And that's right here in this report.
Yeah. So when we took over Local 808 had $9,000 in the bank.
Mm,
I had to, well, because we came from the railroad. I had to take a cut and pay from the railroad and certainly from what the guy was making before me. My secretary was making more than I was,
mm,
right? Because we had to build up the treasury and do those things like that. I'm making good money now, so I'm not crying. But if you cannot forget it's not your money. Let me tell you something. I buy gas. If I know that gas, I only use BP, 99.99% of the time. If there's no BP within 100 miles, then I'll use something else. If that BP gas is 3 cents lower than the other one, I'm going to the 3 cents lower BP gas station. You understand what I'm saying?
yep.
It's not my money. It's not my you understand what I'm saying? you have to be about the interests of your membership, right? You have to shop and do things because you're getting these tickets to the baseball game. We wanted to do that at local 808, but I was afraid of doing it because you really would have to document who went to the game on Wednesday, who went to the, and you would have to maintain. I mean, you should be maintaining that documentation. I didn't want to be bothered with that. You know what I'm saying? So we just never did it. But I would have loved to, had put those tickets out there, and then would the e-board members be barred from going to a baseball game? You know, if the union bought, see, let's say the union bought season tickets, would the e-board be barred? Should they be barred? You know what I'm saying? Even though they are members, yeah, I don't know. So sometimes you just don't do certain things uh, just to avoid the appearance, right?
Exactly,
Just
Chris.
to avoid the appearance.
Chris, check this out. Nobody knows this. I'm about to drop something on everybody. There's only a few people that know this. My board, my wife, and the Greyhound shop steward. No, nobody else knows this. I'm about to tell you since we're talking about the members' money. So in our policy and procedure, our raises tie into the UPS contract because we're UPS local.
Right, right.
So
We're
August
the same way
1st,
with ours too. We're tied into the local to the
right.
yeah.
So August 1st, we get a raise. Right now, remember I told you for the first 3 years, we took a cut, right? Because again, we wanted to make sure that people knew that we were serious about their money. So I believe it was about last year or 2 years ago, we were getting ready to talk about these raises, and I saw how we were losing members and shift was closing, and I told my board, I said, "Listen, man, I'm not going to ask you guys to do this, but I'm not gonna take this raise because I want to be financially stable, and I wanted to make sure that I'm being responsible with the members' money." Man, my right hand man, he jumped all on me. He was like, "Man, Hooker, man, I understand what you're doing, but it's just not right. We took a cut 3 years since for being in office, and now you want to do it again." I said, "Man, I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about me." He's like, "No, man, we work hard for this money, right? And you deserve it." I said, "I understand that, man," but I said, "Listen, I'll get back with you guys, but I just can't do it." Wife jumped on me. She's saying the same thing. "Hey, man, you always talk about fighting for this, fighting for that, and giving members what they demand and deserve, but you keep, you know, taking away resources from our household. That ain't fair to us either." Didn't even care. Didn't even care what she said. It wasn't until the shop steward at the Greyhound. She sat me down because we were getting ready to go into negotiations for Greyhound. She sat me down and she told me, she said, and she got like this Maya Angelou type vibe. So she sat down next to me. She said, "Richard, listen, I understand what you're trying to do, but you just got reelected again. So it's not about the money." He said, "You always ripping and running everywhere, trying to organize this and you organizing that. At what point is enough going to be enough? If you keep taking away from your family, then you're being a hypocrite." Man, that thing messed me up, Chris.
Mm, mm.
Man, it messed me up. I said, "Wow." But I get it. Because you can't preach one thing and then live another. If you hurt in your home,
Yeah, yeah,
then that's no good either.
yeah,
So, but if she never talked to me, Chris, I probably wouldn't have never took another raise.
yeah. But that is what happens when you come to do the work of the people, right?
Yeah,
And sometimes we have to be reminded because we trying to do certain things and we willing to make those sacrifices, and you really need somebody outside to come and say, "Hey, no, this." I mean, I remember many years ago, the then president of the union, because we were all within a certain zone of each other salary wise.
right.
The president of the union at one general membership meeting got up and he says, "Yo, this guy does way more than the other ones of us here, and he deserved more money than the rest of us are getting. And he put a number in front of the membership, and they voted on it to make that happen. But our percentage increase, like now the railroad hasn't had a raise of pay in 2 years or so because we're going through these negotiations and whatnot. We don't get a raise of pay. And we won't get a raise of pay until the railroad settles a contract.
Mm.
And whatever they get, we get that money going, retroactive like they do. But this union has done some things which I totally disagree with. Uh, they they call it the Silvera rule when that's the thing to say that when you get retro pay, you can't charge retro dues. Well, if the dues is based on the wage and it's 2.5% of the wage, then if you get retroactive pay, then you miscalculated the dues. You understand what I'm saying? You got to go
No, I
back,
see what you're saying,
make the
but
correct.
I'm for the other part. If I don't, whatever you get retroactive, that's you. I'm not gonna go back and get that money. But I do see what you're
No,
saying though.
but you see, this is what I'm saying, and this leads to certain things where, if you're saying that this is what it is, right? Then when you get that retro pay, then you have to go back and recalculate those people's dues. Now, yeah, you could say they could get away with it, but it's what everybody wants to do is to get away with something. They want to get away with
Right.
the
No, I
tax.
see.
Right.
I
They
hear.
want to get away with this. You understand the point I'm saying? The fact of the matter is if it's 2.5% of your wage, then retro pay is also a part of it,
Part
right?
of it, right?
And it happened because we taxed these members on this, because the railroad, again, like I said, we go 2, 3 years without uh, getting getting any retro, and then you got to make those corrections. And then so our members cried to the IVT, and when we went to that convention, they put this rule in. So Gary Whitland says, "Yo, they call that the Silvera rule," and that's how they ended it. But it's wrong, and I'll call it out because it sounds like, it sounds a certain kind of way to say it, but the same way that I don't like these guys spending this kind of sumptuous lifestyle or whatever like that, uh, I don't believe that the members got to become in tune,
Yes.
get played. And we use pensions and stuff like that. That's one of the things that help put central states in a bad way, is that we use these things to uh, tell the member why they should vote for me. And I always tell my members, I don't want you to vote for me because your health and welfare, your pension. I want you to vote for me based on the contract, right? Because that I have direct responsibility to the contract. The pension fund is subject to the whim of the stock market, right? Because that's where the money is invested in and what have you. And just because the stock market did good and we were able to give you an increase in the value of a pension credit, that ain't something I did. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That's something that the investments did. And so that we have to be very clear with our members. And it means that we're going to do some things that upset people. But if you want to get on the right track says you follow a particular path, right? And that path comes with pain. It's not all hunky dory. It's not all pleasure. It's not all happiness. You get bounced around and beat up and knocked down and dragged up and get up and brush off.
Yep.
Those things come with real living, right? So for me, I've never been afraid of taxes. I don't have no problem paying taxes. If you say, oh, we got to cut taxes, man, listen, man, the government is no different than you and your paycheck, right? Your paycheck, you want a raise every year. Well, the government needs a raise every year because they have
Okay.
employees that they
Yeah.
pay, right? The cost of gasoline for the police car went up. The cost of gasoline for the ambulance went up. So this idea that you could cut taxes and what have you, and still maintain the services that you need, uh, is a misnomer, and that we need to start to talk to people in real terms about real things. So our proposal about cutting the per capita tax on these locals, the member is not going to see that benefit, right? In terms of the dues are still going to be 2.5 times the hourly rate. But what we want to do is to go back to the central behavior of this union. Let me tell you something. When they went through the government, went through every local union in this country, and they wrote a report that was written by the Project Rise, and they had every local run through everything. Oh, Captain Morgan! I should have told him a better one was Appleton, but uh, and the majority of the local unions were corruption free. It was a small minority. This ain't the first time these guys got in trouble at 986. So 986 got a history
Mm,
that predates Griswold. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I talk about, not getting rid of certain things. That behavior was there even before Griswold was there when Mike Riley was the head of that local, because I think Mike had to step down himself. So those behaviors continue through time. The member has to become involved. We have to stop some behavior from taking place. So this per capita that we're talking about is to allow unions, because, and it's already happening, that we start to see these layoffs and cuts and what have you, to give the local money, the members' money, it's really their money, right?
right,
Sending it back to the locals to say, hey, I want you to start organizing it in your area. I want you to start doing this work to rebuild the local, because just merging is not the solution. You understand the point I'm saying?
right. It's not
Uh, because they took this guy's local 9/11. His name showed up here because they said that he was not. If you go back to the end, 133, uh,
okay.
page one,
I
one
get down there. Let me see if I can find these charges.
um, that tells you that so that yes, those locals got bigger, but the mass didn't get bigger. You understand the point I'm saying?
Right.
We still 1.2 million members, and that they're talking about how they organized 90,000 people. The LM2, not the LM2s, the report that is it the LM2, the LM2,
Yeah,
the
them too. Yep. Shows a whole
LM2
different number.
shows a
You
whole
lost
different number.
members.
You lost members, right?
Right.
So you gotta tell the members the real deal. Say, yo, listen, man, you need to go talk to your cousin and tell your cousin to join the union. You need to
Right.
go and talk to your uncle and tell your uncle to join the union. We need to re-engage with the membership. You know what I'm saying? This idea that we could send people from DC to organize in Alabama. No, we need the locals in Alabama to be able to talk to their people in Alabama, because it's a different conversation.
Right.
Right? It's a totally different conversation that Chris Severe going down there from New York. I don't know the lay of the land. There's 250 plus years of history in Alabama, right? I mean, I went to Selma, Alabama, and I thought I did actually step back in time, right? So when you see these things and you think you could just send a guy in to do this and do that, what we can do is we can assist, technical expertise in doing flyers or reaching out to politicians or doing some of those things like that the local union might not be able to do. You do those things, but we need to empower the local union to organize on that street level, if you will. Yeah,
Right.
make that happen. And that's what we need to be doing. That's what we need to be engaged in, to really grow the union, not from Washington, D.C., and not taking, here we go. I think this is 133. Go to
Yeah.
134.
Okay.
Is that the end of it? Because there's a part where they said these guys were not. legitimately elected.
Yeah.
I think it might be before, it might be 132 or 131. Go back the other way. Go back the other way. Uh,
Yeah, I think it's right here. Yep, right here.
Occupied as for said Herron, occupied as the president. Because they put some other guys in. Go back a little bit. Go up. 131.
Okay.
Oh. Mm, the same to the resignation signed according to the minutes remain due to it. Yeah, Ray Whitmer. So Ray Whitmer was the principal officer of 9/11, a well-sized local, right? And he merges into 986. Did they see this coming? Did they know this was going to happen? And that the merger, so Whitmer then now becomes the secretary treasurer of this local union. You understand the point I'm saying?
Yep.
But where's the will of the membership in this,
Exactly. Where is it at?
right?
Yeah, that will was disregarded by these people, man,
Yeah.
and they didn't care. And that's what we have. But Chris, like you said, this is why we're running. This is just a portion of it. There's a lot more. But I think people need to understand that once we get there, all this kind of behavior, we're
It
gonna have to,
stops. It stops, right?
yeah.
Because when
If
you get
somebody comes to
audited,
me and tell me that this is happening of this magnitude,
yeah,
you're gonna have to make those members whole.
you're gonna have to make them whole, and you're gonna be exposed because
Yeah, you
we need
got people need to know
the
that we
member
won't put up
has
with
to
this kind
have
of stuff.
faith. Yes, the member has
Yeah,
to have faith in the
yeah.
organization, right? That's
That's it, Chris.
that's the currency, right? The
Right.
currency is you have faith in your organization, and that we're not going to know when that dinner took place, but when we find out that dinner took
We're
place,
gonna make
two
things
things are going
happen.
to happen.
Right.
There's going to be a correction,
Right.
right?
Because this is embarrassing.
Yeah,
It's embarrassing. And I've been a teen, this is my 27th year. And I've never read anything like this because I never had access to anything like this
yeah.
before.
Oh
And
yeah,
now
yeah.
that I'm reading it, man, and then that page 133, when it talks about folks reaching out to the local union, our members reaching out to the local union because of difficulties. And you tell
And
them
obviously
no.
didn't get it. They must not have gotten any help, right?
No, they
You
didn't.
wouldn't have
They
mentioned
didn't.
that if the union had helped them,
It would have been in here.
it would not have been in there.
Right.
I think that those people got turned down.
Right. And but you go on to Paris, $7,000 and all this stuff, but you couldn't help people. It's embarrassing. And this is not just a complaint, man. This is a conviction. We have to get rid of this. We have to change this.
But with all the multiple checks, right? Because you're getting a check as the joint council president, you're getting a
Right.
as the local union president or secretary treasurer, you're getting a check as an international vice president. That's three dominant checks right there.
Right.
There might be a fourth check because he might have been in charge of the airline division.
Right. I think he was. I think he was the head guy or somewhere
Right.
up there. So
Right.
he was getting four
Four
checks,
checks,
Chris.
right?
Chris, think about this now. Hold on a
You could
minute.
have took,
We
you
got
could have took that trip on your own. You didn't need no union
So
help.
we're supposed to be talking about the delegate election. Well, check this out, Chris. Now, listen, you done got me stirred up because I know how much of a concern the members' money is. That's why I get animated.
Yeah, yeah,
Four
yeah.
checks, right? But yet you couldn't pay your proper dues, and you
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
four
You
checks,
get four
Chris.
checks. That's it. That's it.
Chris,
That's sick.
you couldn't pay your proper dues,
That's sick.
and you got four checks.
That's sick. And you know what the proper dues is? The proper dues is
I think it was
$150 a month.
$115 let me see if I can find it. I
Right?
think it was like 150 because he was paying 83. He's
It's supposed
supposed
to
to
be
be paying
150.
right. He's supposed to be paying like 115 or something.
And you
But
couldn't pay that.
with four checks, Chris.
So this is just blatant theft, right? This ain't even like,
Bingo.
bad
Stealing
behavior.
from the
This
members.
blatant theft.
You
This
stealing from
blatant
them.
theft. This blatant theft.
And the person you ran with, the general president, knew about it, but hey man, let me just slide it under the rug.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
ain't gonna tell nobody because you with me and I don't want you to make me look bad.
yeah.
That's that. Come on, man.
But I think,
We better than that, man. We are.
but
I
I
know
think,
we are.
no, but I think if you when you find out and you call it, you don't look bad. People
Right.
respect you. People say,
Bingo.
you know,
Don't try to hide it.
don't hide it. You know what I'm saying? This is the thing is they always say the cover up is worse than the crime, right?
Right.
And so here it is. Like I said, there's no way unless he was there. There's no way for him to know that he went to
Right.
a Dodger game, right? Well, there's no way for him to know he had lunch at this or that place, right? Got it. When the auditor comes in, is the auditor giving an accurate report and breaking stones, as they would like to say, the way they do other people, right? Are you going in there and saying, hey, chief, we got to do something about this because this is what I discovered, right? And when you discover it, you say, yo, hey, man, you ain't going to embarrass me, bro. You got to pay that money back and you got to step down. Two things got to happen right now,
He told them,
right?
Chris, O'Brien told them, hey, listen, you pay $8,000, retire, and we'll call it a wash. And
No.
that's why right here, 33 says, hold up, 30 right here. The resolutions they struck with them imposed no discipline. They knew about it. The
Mm-hmm.
IIO told them, say, hey man, this is what's going on. You need to do something about it. Okay, well, this is what we're gonna do. We're not gonna impose no discipline, and we're not gonna make the union. That's what they did,
Mm.
and they did not want to expose the wrongdoing to the union's members.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Because hey, I got election coming up, man. I'm already in trouble. They're
Right.
closing all these buildings. People being laid off. I'm out here posing with Christy Nome. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm divided from the rest of the working class. I'm already getting, beat up every time I post something. I'm in trouble. I'm in serious trouble.
Yeah. You
And now
posing
you throw this in there with some
posing with
embezzlement,
black
and
posing with black babies, right?
right. I'm in serious trouble right now.
Yeah.
I don't need this, and there's more coming.
Yeah.
Once this organizer stuff come out, I I'm
Yeah.
just going to ask members a question. This has nothing to do with the election. What are we as Teamsters? Is this what we are?
So you remember the discussion that we had? You and I had a discussion. I said that we should eliminate this collecting signatures thing. And
Mhm.
the election starts at the convention
Right.
because every time I've seen this signature thing, they've cheated, right? Because the incumbent has the upper hand and his minions have the upper hand. So, all these joint council guys, they're doing things on company time and what have you like that. Uh, and the insurgent or the challenger never has the same insight
Yeah.
to what's going on the way that the incumbent does. And I said to you then that we should terminate this signature collection thing. And first of all, it makes this election process long and nasty. Um, and it should be that it went to the convention, people put their ideas forward at the convention, and then we had um, an election after that, right?
Right. From June. So you're saying from June to
June to
November, that's the
November. You
election
don't need
season.
no
Okay,
more
I see
time
what you're
than that,
saying.
right? You
Right.
don't need no more time than that. The other thing, because I just saw this flyer in my house about Teamsters versus everybody.
You got a flyer with that?
Yeah, yeah, I saw it. I saw it downstairs when I got home yesterday. Um, and again, who is everybody? I'm somebody. Does that mean that I'm against the mason, the carpenters, the iron workers, the steel workers, the automobile workers? Because are they everybody? Who is everybody? You know what I'm saying? Like what what stupidity and this tells you that the leadership and I'm not going to I'm not going to separate Sean from the rest of them because if you're going along with Sean, then you're as guilty as Sean, and if you're going along with Trump, you're just as guilty as Trump, right? Who is everybody that we're fighting against? Because we're not trying to organize Rhodey, we're trying to organize Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah.
right? We need to organize the people that are impacting our members' job today because is somebody getting laid off at Rhodey? Did somebody get they got laid off at UPS?
Yeah. Rody ain't laying nobody off. They're asking for
Rhodey ain't
people.
laying nobody off.
Yeah, they're asking for people. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So we have to be very careful about the flim flam of this magazine, and I would call on members. Uh, there's a sister that works down at the IBT. I hope I don't get her in too much trouble. Uh, Karen Jones, she's the historian, and ask her to just send you a copy of what a Teamster magazine looked like back in the 60s versus what it is today. And today is just a puff piece for whoever's in office, as opposed to something that was making you stand up. Like what's happening with Starbucks. Uh, are we telling our members what's happening with Starbucks? What should they do? Should I buy Starbucks? Should I stop buying Starbucks? And it would actually talk about, you know, I mean, my wife just picked up some plantains earlier today, and I said, "Yo, put them back." I said, "There's a
Yeah.
reason I didn't pick them up." She says, "Why?" I says, "They from the Chiquita brand, and the Chiquita brand is busy in Central America, killing people who are organizing in the agricultural sector, right?" I said, "So we don't use that brand at all, you know." I'm very, I mean, I'm not 100%. I'm sure I'm doing something wrong someplace that, but if I know, I'm going to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to buy something that I know is attacking me, right? I'm not going to do that. And so that magazine has to become something that informs our members how they could become better members, right? Stop buying Starbucks coffee, right? Oh, you can't stop back and you buy less Starbucks coffee. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Sometimes you don't have to stop a thing, you just got to cut back, right?
Right.
And if everybody cut back, they would still feel the pain. So if you normally bought 2 cups, buy 1 cup, right? But we have to start to use uh, the methodologies of that magazine. I'm not sure that magazine is worth it anymore. Um, I mean, the fun of it is gone because it doesn't tell you anything. It never tells you about our losses. And I think it's very important that we understand those losses. What does it mean? What did it mean? I mean, what can I do to change tomorrow? Right?
Right.
So this is something that we have to deal with. Um, and that the fearless slate, when we get into office, is going to have a totally different approach. We're going to have a rank and file approach. That's the reason why we have all these rank and filers on the board, because their voice is going to be of massive importance. How do I talk to you? You could tell me because you're a rank
You're
and
on the board. Right.
you're on the board now. You're in this meeting. Tell me what we got
Right.
different. These young cats that came on my board, I'm telling you, man, they have energized me. You know what I'm saying? Because I see them, jumping around and, they made promises to the members and what have you. So now they got to deliver. They need me
Yeah.
to deliver.
Yeah.
You understand the point I'm
Yeah.
saying? But it's also a good thing because that new energy that comes in is restorative. You understand
Hmm.
what I'm saying? And I could tell you that I look at this board now. I don't like its construct because it did isolate some shops, but the energy that they're bringing to the table is something to be admired, and I'm glad that they're here and making us rejuvenating the local union and what have you like that, and that's why there's a point where even the best of us have to step down, and or be open to having new flows of energy, right? That energy that you brought 30 years ago,
Yeah. It's not gonna be there. Yeah.
yeah. We
Yeah.
don't have carburetor no more. Now we're doing fuel injection, and you know what I'm saying? And so I'm sitting there, hey man, I need a goddamn carburetor, And I go, no, 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 we got these new things. And so either you embrace the new things and then you continue to roll, or you got to get out the way,
Right.
you
All
know.
right, Chris. Now we got about 20 minutes. We got to talk about this delegate election. I know we keep going back
Yeah,
on
yeah, yeah.
corruption, man. But it's a lot here. If
Yeah.
anybody has a moment, please, you can go on our Facebook page, Fearless Kingston's Fearless Slate 2026 is there posted. You can read it. It's 149 pages. You'll see the charges that the IIO is recommending, but we really wanted to talk about the corruption that continues, even though we were promised that there wouldn't be any corruption in the union, because that leads to a whole lot of problems for this union. And in this season and in this moment, we don't need that. So delegate elections are happening right now, and some people are already um, nominated, and some had white ballots. Congratulations to all of those who ran and opposed. That is a feat there in itself. But I know there's a lot of people concerned about how the voting will take place because there's a lot of people who do not like what's going on, and they cannot speak out against it because of the retaliation and the history of intimidation that the general president has. They don't want to deal with that. I was told a couple of days ago about our UPS national panel that if you want to be a part of that, you had to give the general president and the Oz campaign, you had to max out because that's how they do business. They want to fearmonger and force people to pay this money so that, you could get these positions, whatever. But I believe in my heart. I've been a Teamster again going on 27 years. I just believe that there's a lot of true trade union people who are going to this convention, and I know they don't like what's going on. And when you vote, it's not going to be in the open forum. It's not going to be everybody stand up if you vote for Oz or you vote for the Fearless. It's going to be you're going to go to a place in the convention hall or in a hotel, I should say. You're gonna go into a private booth. Nobody's gonna be around, and you're gonna vote. Nobody's gonna be around you. You don't have to worry about any intimidation, any harassment, anybody looking over your shoulder. Nobody is going to know how you vote. Whether you support us or not, or you support the Oxley or not, this organization demands democracy, and we need to have an election. If we don't have an election with this current general president, I'm going to tell you what, it's going to be over. You're going to talk about somebody who is really going to believe they're a dictator and they really can rule by fear and
Mm.
intimidation. We don't need that in this organization. It has no place in this organization. I wish that everybody would stand up to that behavior, no matter where it's coming from, because we're not going to be all we can be until we get rid of that. It's just not going to happen. We can hawk and we can squawk and we can cry and we can fight all we want to against these employers for what they do to us. But we allow it from our own organization. That's our fault. UPS, when they harass us, we are told to file the grievance, stand up, fight back. Why don't we do that now? Look at what's going on in this document. Why don't we stand up and fight this? You cannot be afraid of somebody that you're paying. I don't believe in that. I didn't subscribe to that. If I'm paying you and you taking my money, the fear should be the other way around.
That's right.
I think there's a quote that I read somewhere that says when the people fear the government is tyranny, but when the government fear the people is liberation.
That's right.
Let me say it again. When the people feel the government or those in charge is tyranny. Right now we have a tyrannical situation going on. But when the people in power, or I should say the people in these positions, when they fear the people, that's when you have more freedom. That's when you have more power. Can you imagine if employers knew that our members were ready to fight, ready to stand up, ready to go to war with them? They wouldn't even do half the stuff that they do. They wouldn't even try to do it because they know if I do this, I'm gonna have a whole shift getting ready to shut me down through grievances or job actions. Do I really want that? No, you don't. But we haven't gotten there yet. A lot of it is because through fear. It's through fear. People are afraid of the leadership. Chris, what did we say many, many months ago? If you are afraid of the leader, you got the wrong leader.
They got the wrong
I
leader.
stand by that.
Yes,
If you are afraid of Sean O'Brien, he is the wrong person for us. He is. There's no way you should be afraid of anybody. I don't get that. I don't. You put your pants on the same way I do. You pay your bills the same way I pay mine. We all have the same issues and the same struggles. Why are we afraid? I don't get it. So when you get in that booth this summer in June, it's going to be you and your ballot. It's not going to be me, not going to be Chris, not going to be O'Brien, not going to be anybody looking over your shoulder. It's going to be you and what do you want from your organization? Do you want to continue to live under fear?
that's
Do you
right.
want to continue to get these bluster and speeches and oh man, we brought these guys to their knees and we stopped automation and we stopped this? Or do you want somebody who's really going to care and fight for you? Because I am you. Again, I've been living under every contract since 1999 at UPS. This is the first time in my Teamster career that I have not lived under a contract. Everything that you've gone through, I've been through. I just got out of the warehouse. And I know people want to say, "Oh man, you don't have the experience." Well, what has their experience gave us? Let's read about what their experience gave us. Oh, that's right. Trips to Paris off your money.
That's it. That's
All
it.
this booze they bought off of your money.
Mhm, mhm.
Trying to hide it. That's what their experience has given us. And it's going to continue until we stand up. It's really just that simple. It is. And I know they talk about, man, they organized 90,000. Go to the LM2s and look how many members we've lost. We don't have an influx of 90,000 members. And I want to see what's going to happen this March when the LM2s come out. I want to see where we at. Is that 90,000 going to be in there? We're going to find out. Because if it's not, what did Jay-Z say? Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. And
That's
we're gonna
it.
find out.
We'll
We're
find
gonna
out.
find out.
Yep.
And then what's the excuse gonna be? You guys read it right here. All the corruption that continues to go on. What they try to do.
Let me just go back to this thing with the delegates. When because I think we need to emphasize this. The most powerful section of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters is the convention. The convention, you could change the Constitution, you can restore membership. It is the most powerful. So you have the locals, joint councils, state conferences, you have the General Executive Board, and then you have the convention. The convention is the pinnacle. Your role as a delegate is to ensure and enshrine in this organization that democracy exists, retaliation dies, intimidation dies, corruption dies. We are responsible as delegates. You're not there as a Oz delegate or as a fearless delegate. You're there as a Teamster delegate.
Yeah.
You're there on behalf of the entire apparatus that is known as the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. And it is important that we have a debate. It
Yes.
is important for new ideas to come to the table. If you look at the behavior of Griswold and Heron, it predates them because
Yep.
Heron was around. There was another Heron that used to head that local before Griswold. And there was a guy named Mike Riley that used to head that local before, and that behavior was there then, right? It hasn't changed. And that we have got to enshrine in this organization a new path, a path that is going to restore in the members faith in their organization.
That's right.
Believe that this organization means something not only to our Teamster lives, but to the lives of the working class. That
Bingo.
when Teamsters win, working class people win. whether they're in a union or not. And we have got to get back to a movement union, a trade union movement union, and not a business union, because that behavior is the behavior of business union. They didn't go to a rally. They didn't go to a No Kings rally
Right, right.
to live,
They went to
right?
the Dodgers game.
They went to the Dodgers game, right?
Right,
So this tells you what was important to them, right?
right.
You had an experience out in California where 10 business agents came
Yeah.
out to attempt to assault you, right? Physically or verbally or however, intimidate. But that barn, no 9 or 10 business agents ever showed up in that barn to intimidate the employer,
Hmm.
right? They not, they're not, you are going out and taking a picture with Christy Nome that's spending billions of dollars to build concentration camps for who? So I'm going to say this, that as an African living in America, let me tell you something. We are very conscious about concentration camps. If you're Japanese, you should be very conscious about they're calling them detention centers, right? But they're prison camps. We have to be very careful the direction that this country is going in and being led by the Epstein class.
Class.
It
That's
ain't
right.
even the 1% no more. This is the
The
Epstein
Epstein
class,
class.
right? All of these people are in this process, and there are communities all over the country that is resisting having any of these detention facilities. And don't think of them as being detention facilities. Think of them as being concentration camps. And for those of you, my Jewish brothers and sisters, people who have gone through the Jim Crow period, people who have gone through enslavement, we understand what these camps can do when they disappear you, when they treat you in a manner that denies you any constitutional rights. So when these guys are coming out to intimidate someone that's campaigning for office, you are denying them their constitutional right. You would gerrymander the union, because this is we use these terms over here, but it's the same thing that's happening inside the union, that you don't want me to have a conversation with the members to give the members a fair shot to determine what their future looks like in this thing we call a union, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. And it has to stop.
Yeah, yeah. And I want to thank everybody for just the embracing the respect as I've been going, like I said, across the country talking to different people about this upcoming election. And people are concerned and they're scared about the livelihoods, that they're afraid of the attacks on the working class, Chris, as you just said. They are concerned about what's going to happen in the future. And when they see things like this, that concern gets a little bit more. They get more frustrated. They really don't understand why these things are happening. Because I'm paying these dues, and whether you fight for me, you going to Paris on my dime, and I need help, and my building is closed, and I'm losing my health care, and cameras in the truck spying on me, and all these things are happening. We losing in court, and all these things are happening, man. It's like, what are we doing? The labor secretary who the Teamsters back, she's caught up in scandal, her and her husband, and
The
she
husband,
believes
that's
in right
right,
to work. And,
who was
not only does she
endorsed by
believe in right,
O'Brien.
right. Not only do she believe in right to work,
Yeah,
she's out here committing these acts on taxpayer dime. These sexual acts and misconduct and all these things. It seems like we're just being embarrassed every day. And I love this organization so much that I don't like the way it's going. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to run. Because I just I don't like what's happening. We bully our members, but we don't bully the company.
yeah.
We allow the company to dictate to us instead of them understanding that we are a partner. And then anybody that has a difference of opinion, we want to shut them out. No, why are we shutting out a Chris Silvera, somebody who's been the longest tenured principal officer? You don't think that wisdom and that knowledge that he has is relevant for this time right now in the season that we're going through? You got people who run on our slate like an Yvette, who you talking about somebody who is a fighter, and I see certain things online, man, and they calling these people, they want to say certain things about being losers and whatnot. no teams whoever got up and took on an establishment leadership is a loser. Do you
That's
know
right.
how hard that is to get up to enough nerve and
Mhm.
courage to stand up to people who's been in office and who has tons of money and a backing and all this PR? Do you know how tough that is?
Yeah.
That's what a Teamster does. We stand up to insurmountable odds and we go to work and we go to work every day and we fight and we deliver. We soar, we drive, we fly planes, we in the hospitals. We everything that we do it because we love the Teamsters, we love our families, and we want things better for the working class.
Working class. That's it.
But right now, Chris, we're not there, but we have an opportunity to get there. And when you get your ballot in the mail this fall, even before that, start talking to your brothers and sisters right now that there is a better option on the ballot. And that option is you, the rank and file. If you don't like what you see, if you want this corruption that you've been reading all day on this laptop that I've shown on the Facebook, if you want to get rid of that, then you got to vote for it. You got to vote for it and you got to fight for it. If you want somebody who's going to tell you the truth and not give you a bunch of catchphrases, then you got to vote for it.
That's it.
If you want somebody to fight the smaller fights all the way up to the big fights, because this whole buyout thing, why wasn't there a suit on Rhodey or for the supervisors working all these layoffs? Where
Mhm.
was the lawsuit there? You have to organize your members around these smaller fights so they can take on and mobilize around the big fights.
Right. Right.
You can't mobilize people on something, then you haven't organized them, and then you don't care about the small things.
Right. Around
You got to
something
care about all this
voluntary.
stuff,
And
huh?
so that's voluntary.
Yeah, it's
It's
voluntary. Yeah, and I
voluntary.
get it, and I
Yeah.
understand it does weaken the solidarity, and I get the union approach, but they're not forcing you to take it.
That's it.
You take it, you take it, you don't, you don't. That's on you. Just make sure that you read the fine print because the union can help you after that.
That's it. That's
You
it.
just make sure you do what's best for you and your family.
Let me ask you a question. Is it true that the buyout I know it was 1,800 for each year of service before, but I heard somebody told me there's $150,000.
$150,000, Chris.
So if you were somebody that had an idea that you wanted to open up your own business or whatever, or you wanted to do something, that might be a kickstart right there. That's the voluntary part of it, right? But if,
Right,
if you think of all the things that are happening in UPS, like I say, supervisors doing the work, so forth and so on, roadie, the PVBs or whatever that other little group is right there. This is the most minimal thing that's happening there, right? Because if I'm a 5 year person and I don't plan on having my own business, I don't want the buyout.
right.
But if I'm 35 years in,
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
going to
about to
retire next
retire.
year anyway.
My pension is secure. I'm going to
That's
get my
it.
benefits because I already
Right.
invested and I'm
Exactly.
out.
Right.
I'm out.
Right. And the member's smart enough to know, right?
Yeah.
Smart enough to know what's to their advantage.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. And,
so
and I think some fights, the union, we have to make sure that we're not doing the members a disservice, right? We if you want to fight something, what we should have did was when this whole and I don't want to go back there, what we should have did was when UPS was acting a fool in 2023, should have took them out on the street.
yeah,
Should have
yeah,
taken them out on the street. That's what we should have did.
yeah,
Took them out on the street, let them see that the members are ready to go to war with them, and not the other way around, man. But we're going to get there. And again, if you want to donate to our campaign, go to b-fearless.org. Um, I've always had a hard time asking people for money, especially during this time. But whatever you can donate, you can't donate over $2,000. And I'm not asking anybody to max out, but if you got a quarter, you can donate that quarter. If you got a
yeah.
dollar, you can donate that dollar. Whatever it is that you want to donate, we will definitely put it to use because we have to get around to see as many people as we can. Because there is a growing frustration within the teams. They do not like the direction that we are going in. I don't care what you see online. I'm telling you. And yeah, they're gonna put some people out there. Yeah, man, it's the greatest president ever. I'm telling you right now, when you see stuff like this that's on this screen, that shows you that we do not have the greatest leadership in history. Because if we did, what that say right there, the resolution the IPT struck with Griswold and Herron imposed no discipline on them, didn't make the local union whole for the funds that were responsible for diverting to their personal benefit or the dues evaded, and importantly, did not expose their wrongdoing to the union's members. That right there lets you know we do not have the greatest leadership ever because those things would have came out, you would have heard about it. They would have put their foot down. Hey, if you do this, you will be exposed and you will be expelled. Because
Hmm.
I can guarantee you, if I had did this, if this was me, you would have heard about it. It would have been in the front page news.
Yeah.
They would have did a movie about it. I would have been
Yes.
the worst person in the world. They
Yeah.
would have drove a first student bus over me, put
And
me
back
under
it
the
up.
jail. They would have backed it. They would have did all of it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
because of politics, they don't want you to know about this stuff. We need leadership who cares about character, integrity, and doing the right thing. We don't have that, as you can see right here.
Yes. That's proof positive.
It's proof positive. We're not making it. And wait till you see the stuff from the organizers. Wait till you hear about, and I just told you a little bit. Have them going out getting signatures while they're supposed to be organizing. If they didn't do it, they're going to get removed and all this other kind of stuff. When you guys see that stuff, you guys got to make a decision. You
Yes.
guys got to make it. This is not what a Teamster is. This is not what we're supposed to do. We will never be able to get the government out of our business until we start getting rid of people like the O'Briens and all these other folks who do this. It's not going to happen.
And the people who go along,
And the people who go along
right?
with it, you know it's wrong.
Let me tell you, let me just say this because you brought this up about Sister Yvette. And anybody that says that someone, if you think of the last 20 years, 30 years, 100 years, 1.2 million Teamsters, how many people step up to make a challenge in their local union? Less than 1%,
Yeah.
right? That person stepped out of line to make a challenge, which is the most important thing that you could do, right? So people have to recognize, so you go, oh, she's a loser.
Listen, those guys that, well,
You
I'm gonna say
you
guys.
ran you ran and lost the first time around,
Yes, I did.
and again and won. Where you did loser win?
Right. Did the loser win? Right.
Right?
You're right.
Ronald Reagan ran and lost. Donald Trump ran and lost.
Yeah, he did.
Right? So people have to get out of this mindset of losers and whatnot. It is our right to run,
Our right to run, Chris.
right? And we need to engage the membership. And anytime that you are afraid of that engagement, it calls into question the work that you have been doing,
Absolutely.
and you have been given to do that work.
Absolutely, Chris. Listen, we're gonna get out of here.
All right.
Chris, it's 5 o'clock. I try to keep this under two hours. I knew this was gonna be a long one, but I think we gotta do these more frequently so they won't be as long. But I wanted people to see this, see what's going on. Because again, there's an old adage that says members really don't care about corruption. It really doesn't move them to get rid of it. But we wanted you to see for yourself. We're not making this stuff up. We're not crying. This is not a complaint. This is a conviction against who we are as Teamsters. Are we going to continue to let these things happen, or are we going to do something about it? Everybody will have that opportunity, right?
But
Are
can I
you?
just say something?
Oh,
When,
go.
when you living like that,
Mm,
your approach to collective bargaining is soft.
yeah.
Your approach to collective bargaining is soft because you like that soft life.
Right. Right. I mean, look at
You
it.
like
I
that
mean,
soft.
if you want to read more of this, guys, please go to uh Teamsters Fearless Slate 2026 website. I mean, excuse me, Facebook page. Follow us. If you want to donate, again, it doesn't matter how much. You just can't go over $2,000 and you have to be a Teamster. We want to make sure that we can continue to push to get on the ballot. There's this whole thing that these signatures, they want to kind of try to hold it over our head. Listen, the signatures is really not all of that important because it just puts your information in a magazine which nobody ever reads, and it gives you access to the list. But we building our own list by going and talk to the members.
That's right.
We probably talk more to the members than the signatures that we've gotten anyway, which is a good thing. And so when we get on the ballot in June, we'll be accredited, we'll have access to the list, and our information will be in the magazine. So to your point, Chris, if everything started in June, you get on the ballot, you'll get access to the list and all this other kind of stuff
All
anyway.
that stuff. That's
But
it.
I get it. The politics, all those guys couldn't even get. I get it, and that's part of the process, part of the politics. They have to try to cast down on their opponents. But this right here, what you guys see on the screen, this is not us casting them down. This is who they are,
This is who they
and
are.
this is what they do.
This is who they've
All
all.
right, we out, Chris.
All right now.
We'll try to do this again, maybe next week or the next couple weeks.
Okay, good enough.
All right, y'all be good, be safe. God bless.
Stay strong.
All right,
Peace.
you too.